Hello, hello, hello. I should be live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I am going to give you guys a second to come on in, even though I did not pre schedule this, which I should have, but I did not. But hopefully, you grab it um, and jump on. I am Coach Marlena Cole. And today we are talking about how to meet a man on your level, finally, for professional women. I am a life coach. I'm just seeing if I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Hello, hello. Come on in, come on in. Hopefully, you get to watch the replay. If you do get the replay, make sure you put replay in the comments so that I can shout you out, know that you were rocking with me. So excited for you to be here. My desk is a little mess because we are getting some work done in the house tomorrow and stuff is all whack. But listen, rock with me tonight. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. If you're here, say hello. Let me know where you're from. And tonight we're going to be talking about what is your relationship with happiness? All right. What is your relationship with happiness? So, for those who don't know me and just come across this live stream, my name is Coach Marlena Cole. I am a master energy life coach. I predominantly work with women, single women 40 and plus, who are really desiring a healthy, loving relationship that leads to marriage. And so I teach you how to attract love that you can trust and depend on and attract a man that loves you, adores you, and accepts all of you without the drama, without having to meet 50 million men before you meet him. And so that's who I am. That's what I do. So welcome to my live show. I do this every Sunday. I didn't do it last Sunday because it was Resurrection Sunday. So happy Resurrection Sunday for all those who are believers, shouting us out. If you're in the comments, I'm gonna see if I can put my chat up. Please say hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know where you're from, and I'll be checking the chat. So with these lives, I like to try to keep them fairly short, but sometimes I get to roll it, and my notes are here to my right. So I try to make sure that I'm being succinct to a degree, right, with what I'm saying. But I love to start these with a rant, with my rant that happens depending on what is going on during the week. So here's my rant. So here's a warning. I wish I had a warning sign. Here's the red light warning for my women who are online dating. And so my clients usually fall in three sections of single, one or both or a mix of all three of these. So it's women. My first section of women are women who have been divorced or have ended a long-term relationship, and you're still not back in the mix yet, right? You're still not in a relationship. And then my second group of women are women who have not been in a relationship at all, no dating, nobody's trying to talk to you, nothing popping in a year or more. And then I have my third section, which are my dating dabblers. And these are women who are meeting men, who are online dating, who are putting themselves out there, but they haven't met the right person yet. And so they still haven't been in a relationship that has led to commitment. Okay. And so those are usually the women that I coach usually fall into that arena. So write down where you fit in there. And you may overlap a little bit too, but if you've been try to keep it to one section. So here's my rant. I know a lot of people, there's hundreds of thousands of millions of people on dating websites. I am an advocate for dating websites. I think you can meet your husband anywhere, absolutely anywhere. I met my husband at church, right? Did not expect that, but I did. So you can meet your husband anywhere. You can meet the person you're going to spend your life anywhere. And that can be online, the grocery store, the gas station, at work, at church. You can meet them anywhere. I'm an advocate. So I just want you guys to hear me. I'm not against online dating, but I do have a warning, especially if you fall in those three sections. And here's my warning. When you would think that when you have access to hundreds of men at the same time, that it's easier to find the one and sift through, and everybody's using this word, vet through really quickly and not waste time. But here's the thing. When you're already not a 100% certain that love is possible for you, I caution you to start with online dating, because what happens when you have doubt in you, when you don't know like where it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, and you're not even sure you have the tools to make it happen. It happened being able to find a love that you can trust and depend on. It being finding and meeting someone that you could love and trust, somebody you can spend the rest of your life in. When you have no clue of how that happens or when it's going to happen or what you need to do to make it happen, you have some doubt in your heart that is even possible. Especially for my women 40 and older, you've been through multiple relationships, right? Been through a divorce. Even if you were married to that one same man for most of your life, you have experience with relationships not working out. So there is that tinge of doubt. And in this modern dating world, you're like, I don't know, right? All these acronyms and ghosted and, breadcrumbing, all these things. So there is doubt. And when you don't know exactly the tools to use, your faith is diminished a little bit. And so when you go online and you're meeting all these hundreds of men, they're bringing and you're exposing yourself to their baggage, right? So what happens energetically, right? I'm a master energy coach. Energy is everything. Everything is energy, your vibe, right? Your aura, however you want to say it. What happens is that you're bringing all of these men into your energy, right? You're exposing yourself to them and you don't have a strategy, but and neither do they. And so what happens, and this just happened this week, when you set your boundaries with these strangers, like, no, I'm not going to be texting you. We can call and talk to get each other. And no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to let you pick me up, or whatever boundary you set. What happens, I see so often, is that they then project their issues onto you. Well, that's so this text, I wish I'd have brought the text up, but the text that the lady sent me was like, oh my God, my client sent me was like, oh my God, look at what this guy said. When I told him that, no, I don't want to get to know you through text. We exchanged phone numbers to talk, right? So if you want to talk, we can talk, but I'm not going to have all these long conversations through text. And he was like, well, that's the only way I do it. And she was like, well, that's fine, but that's not what I'm going to do. And so he started spewing so he was triggered by her boundaries, right? So he started spewing all of this crap, like, these, you women nowadays, that's why you're single. You're not going to guilt a man into being with you. All these things that he perceived that she was doing. And he was triggered, right? So in that moment when she set that boundary, he was triggered. It triggered something in him. I don't know what, right? But he was triggered, and then he started spewing and projecting out on her. So what happened, because she's in coaching with me, her first reaction was like, oh my God, did I say or do something wrong? And so she sent it to me, and I was like, okay, what was your response? Or what, she was, what was your reaction? She was like, well, initially I was like, oh my God, what did I say? I had to read back through the text to see what I said. She was like, but then I remember that this is what I want. He's saying what he wants. And so this is what I want. And we want two different things. And she said, I remember you in my head. He is just a stranger. And I said, you're absolutely right. And so before this would have happened, she was like, before coaching with you, I would have just got offline, shut down my account, and been like, all these men are crazy. She go, but I realized that he wants what he wants, and I have the right to want what I want. And so what happens so many times when you're not getting coaching and when you're not aware of this warning that you're going to potentially meet men who are triggered by something you say about your own boundaries, and then they're going to spew negativity out on you. And if you're not mindful of this, which is why I'm telling you, or know what to do with it, you're going to internalize it. And then you're going to generalize it. All men are this, all dating online sucks. Forget about it. God just has to send my husband like manna from heaven, right? Knocking at my door, right? But even if God did that, if you're not prepared to know exactly what you want and how to get it and what you need to do on your end, God can send your husband to the door and you're going to say, no, that's not my husband, because he knows where I live. Because he's the UPS driver. He may be owning that UPS truck, right? Who knows? Who knows, right? And so the thing of it is, I want you guys, you ladies, to be prepared right? Before you just put yourself out there. I am not an advocate for just putting yourself out there. As a matter of fact, I don't have my women put themselves out there in the world, as we call it, on dating apps and meeting men with the intention before we go through certain steps to get them prepared, because you're going to energetically draw to you the thing that you don't have and that you're looking for. So you first need to find it in you. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is what is your relationship with happiness? Let me know if that makes sense. If you're rocking, if you're listening, let me know if this warning makes sense to you. And I'm going to give you a second to do that while I bring up our topic for today. So that is my rant. And so our topic today is the 10 keys to happiness. So my question to you is, what is your relationship with happiness? I want to know, what is your relationship to happiness? And I'm just going to check here to see. Okay. So what is your relationship to happiness? Put it in the chat. Do you have a good relationship with happiness? Are you happiness? Do you experience happiness? Is it up and down, side to side? Where's happiness in your book? How does that go? All right. All right. So let's keep going. So if you're watching the replay, put it in the replay. What is your relationship with happiness? So let's get back to the 10 keys of happiness. So what I want to talk about today is the 10 keys to happiness. Now, I'm not going to go through all 10. I'm going to pick about 2 or 3 that I see. Yes, Lean, thank you. You have a great relationship with happiness. Awesome. Awesome. And so what I want to go through tonight, I'm just going to go through 3 of the 10, because this is depending on how my women come in, and not everybody gets the same exercises when they come into me, right? It's very customized experience when you work with me one-on-one, because everybody has different situations, different fears, different blocks, right? But something I find consistently is their relationship with happiness. We always explore that, because if I send you, it would be irresponsible of me as your coach to just send you out there. Here, get on this website, do this thing, take this action, right? Before we clear up your thoughts and your emotions and your energy. Oh my God, I don't have my battery. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. My battery, my phone about to go dead. My battery. Hold on. Wait on. Hold on. All right. Sorry. I'm back. Anything could go wrong when you're live. All right. So let me hide this chat. All right. All right. So the thing of it is happiness, right? People, a lot of women come to me and they are like, I'm happy, but I'm not fulfilled, right? They like, I've done all the things, I've accomplished so much in my life. I have the house, I have the car, I have the finances, I have a great a social circle, I have good health, I work out, I travel, but something's missing. And it's just that one thing that's missing, right? Or I'm happy, but I'm not fulfilled, or their happiness is up and down. It's like I'm on this roller coaster and I don't know what's going on. I think it's just a man, right? I think that's the only thing that's missing. Or I'm really lonely. I experience a lot of loneliness. And they're like, I'm tired of feeling it. And they realize, they're aware enough to realize that they're feeling it with things, with places, with money, with purses, with shopping, with scrolling online. Scrolling online is now the new the new self-medication. And you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and that is taking your attention away from the loneliness, away from the unhappiness, away from being unfulfilled. And because God wants more for you, he's going to keep bringing it back up, right? It's like if you don't learn the lesson the first time, you're going to repeat it in another way. And so a lot of times we're always searching for happiness. And so my women come to me thinking the only thing they need to make them go from happiness to fulfilled is that one thing that's missing, which is the loving relationship. And that totally makes sense, right? Because you have all the other things and they haven't fulfilled you. They kept you happy for a while, but you haven't be what I call become happiness, meaning no matter what the situation, I'm able to find joy. I'm able to find love and happiness within myself. And it doesn't take me out, right? Situations don't take me out. And so the first thing I do with my women, depending on where their energy is when they do their energy assessment, and I'll talk about that in a second, is I see where are their happiness, and depending on where or what their relationship is happiness with happiness. And so depending on what their relationship is with happiness is, that's where we start. Because if I send you out and my techniques work to draw in men, right? Because it's all energy works. It's the laws of God that I'm working with, right? So they work because they work for everybody who use them, right? But if I send you, not but and if I send you out looking for some man or somebody to fill in the gap, that one missing piece, you're going to meet somebody who brings in a whole lot more drama because he's looking for something, right? I'm looking for my piece, but you can't be his piece, just like he can't be your happiness. He can't be your missing piece. You have to not be fully, right? There's room for him to pour into you, but you have to be set in becoming happiness, because if things fall apart, and most relationships fall apart in the first year, you can't fall apart, right? You can't go back to being unhappy or unfulfilled. And so we work within these parameters to make sure that your cup is filled with happiness and is not based on anything external to you. And I use this a lot because a lot of times my women unhappiness comes from the stress at their job. So I work with professional women who are highly career driven, they're motivated, they're ambitious, they're successful in their careers, but that comes with a lot of pressure and stress and fighting and to survive, and that decreases their level of happiness in every area of their life, because then they don't have the energy to do other things that would increase their happiness, right? And I'm not talking just about the external self-care, which that is important. It can be important, the nails, the massages, right? Chiropractic care, exercise, and yoga, meditation, all those things are important, right? Because keeping your appearance up, if that's your thing, it makes you, right, feel good. But I'm talking about true happiness inside of you. Does that make sense? And so, how did this come about? Marlene, how do you know about this? Well, I know because I was the same way. So for many years, I felt the same way. I went to school, I got my master's, I did my bachelor's, I climbed the corporate ladder, I did the certifications, I bought a home, I took care of my daughter and I, but I didn't feel happy. I felt like I'm happy, but I'm not fulfilled. I'm happy, but I'm not happy, right? And so I had a very relationship with happiness. And I thought that what was going to make me happy and keep it up was me getting married, because that was the one thing that was missing. My relationships at the time sucked. I kept finding myself in relationships with people who they weren't happy and they made me miserable, right? The lying, the cheating, all those things, because they weren't happy. And I was looking for them to make me happy. And so I worked through that and I learned to make myself happy. And I met my husband. But somewhere in between there, about a year or two in my marriage, I went back to being unhappy. And I thought it was my husband. I thought it was my marriage. And I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? I have married the wrong person. I ruined my life. What have I done? I'm so embarrassed. I was so unhappy. And I just knew it was my husband. I just knew it was my marriage and that I had married the wrong person. Yes, this is how I know this from experience. And so I end up meeting a life coach and I wonder, do I have one of my books? A life coach at this event. I actually end up writing, and I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I wrote a book about when I was single, and published this book back in 2011 about my journey of being singleness, God teaching me and preparing me to be a wife. I was serious about becoming a wife. Right. And so I was selling my book at the event. And if I have a copy, I do. I do. I do have a copy right here of my book, Renewing of Your Mind and Spirit from Marriage, from Single to Married. It's a really quick read. I wasn't an author, but God prompted me to write down my journal of my experience of all these crazy relationships I was having, because He was teaching me and renewing my mind and spirit. Then one day He was like, turn it into a book. And I published it. So it's on Amazon online, so you guys can get it. But what I realized is that I went back after I got married. I started unconsciously depending on my husband to make me happy. Right. It was like this marriage was supposed to solve all my unhappiness, all my self doubt, all my insecurities, and it didn't. And so when my husband was like, this chicken too salty, I felt like he was attacking me. Right. When he was like, Marlena, did you leave the house or where did you go? I thought you was just going to the store, but I went to the store, to my sister's house, to my dad's house. I'm gone 2 hours and I'm supposed to be gone 30 minutes. And he's like, hey, you've been gone for a minute. Where are you at? I felt like he was trying to control me, right? And so this wonderful marriage came in my mind to him trying to control me, him not being happy with me not being a good wife. And I was so unhappy. I was so unhappy. And it was nothing but God who helped put me together with this life coach. And I didn't start spilling the beans, but her and I made a genuine connection, and we exchanged numbers. We started talking, and we met one day. We lived close to each other in the same neighborhood, so we met one day. I learned more about her. I didn't know at the time anything about a life coach. The only thing I knew about is like basketball coaches, executive coaches. I didn't know people got coaches for personal life issues like relationships and marriage and health and finance, because now I've had all kind of coaches, right? But what happened is I hired her. I was like, oh, wait, you're a marriage coach? You coach married people, married women? I hired her and I told her, I was like, listen, I don't know what's going on. I've been married a few years and I am so unhappy. I think I married the wrong man. I cannot find, I've lost myself. I don't know what's happened. I'm generally a happy person. And what we found out is that I was being a victim in my marriage. And we found out through this energy assessment that she does. And it shows you your energy, it shows you your vibe, it shows you your perspective, your unconscious perspective, and how you see yourself, the world, situations, just everything. And it gets really deep into your attitude. And it kind of reminds you of like a personality test, like the DISC or Myers-Briggs, but it goes deeper into your attitude and your perspectives on life. And it shows it from an energetic perspective. And she was like right away, like, here's the issue right here. And the issue wasn't my husband. It wasn't my marriage. It was me. I had given my relationship to happiness, made it dependent upon my husband's acceptance of everything that I did, him acting and behaving in the way that I thought that he should, right? And I didn't even know because I had never been married, right? Yes, I'd seen my father, my mother, but I wasn't my mother, my husband wasn't my father. So all these expectations that something outside of me needed to make me happy. And again, I thought it was marriage was all that I need, that missing link. And she helped me see that that thought was erroneous and it made me unhappy in my marriage. And oh my God, when she was like, Marlena, you have a lot of level one energy. And level one energy is like helpless, hopeless, fear-based energy. She was like, and you're blaming your marriage and you're blaming your husband for your unhappiness. She was like, but it's your thoughts and it's your emotions and it's your relationship with happiness that is making you unhappy. Blew my mind, changed my life, and transformed and saved my marriage. It absolutely did, because I'm like, oh hell no, I'm nobody's victim. Right. And I started paying, she gave me some tasks to do, and I started paying attention to my internal reactions to my husband, right? And the things that he said and the things that he did and how I showed up as a wife and how I would shrink, right? And become this little insecure girl. And she was like, no, that's you, not him. He's only triggering what's already in you. And this is why, I hope that makes sense. And my divorced women, you guys know, women who've been in a relationship for a long time, you know that what I'm saying is right, right? Because when you get into such an intimate relationship, they're going to pull those things that you didn't even realize was there. They're going to push those buttons unconsciously, right? They're going to trigger inside of you, because that's what I've learned of being a wife now for almost 11 years, is that that is God's way of helping me to grow as a person, as a soul, as a human being on this journey, right? On this journey back to God and oneness, right? It is for me to learn and to grow. And what better way than somebody that you're intimate with in a relationship, in a marriage? Because guess what? When the doors close, it's just my husband and I. It's like all of his issues are painted, all of mine, you can't hide, right? And so the love and kindness, right, we have to deal with each other with love and kindness, but it's also not my husband's job or his response accountability. There's a difference between being accountable and responsible, but I'm accountable for my own happiness, I'm accountable for my own growth. And as my husband, he is responsible and intrinsic part of that, right? So if the chicken salty, the chicken salty. If I'm acting like a single woman, I'm acting like a single woman. And he needs to call that out in a loving, caring way, right? But it's for me to then deal with that if I'm triggered by it. So this is exactly why I don't send my women out. Just go meet men, because your relationship with happiness needs to be on solid foundation. Other than that, you're going to meet somebody who's also missing some important keys around happiness. And then he's going to be looking for you to make him happy. And that is just not your job. And that's where the conflict comes a lot of time in relationships, because we're looking for people to do our job for us. All right, makes sense. Let me know if this is making sense. I'm going to check the chat real quick, see if there's any comments. All right, let me know if this is making sense. All right, I'm going to keep going. Let me keep going. All right, we're going to talk about there's 10 keys to happiness. So the first key, I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to run through them. You can write them down, and then I'll talk about a few of them, depending on the time. So the first key is to know that you can weather your moods, okay? I'm just going to go through them. Know that you can weather your moods. Second one is choose balance without judgment. The third key is to practice. Hold on, let me put that up there for you guys. Practice the discipline of denial. That's so juicy. I'm not going to dive into that one tonight, but I can do that later. The fourth one is appreciate variety and anticipation. Oh, I'm not going to, because I'm going to talk about that one tonight. And then the fifth key to happiness is challenge the status quo. Get out of autopilot. Challenge the status quo in your own life, right? We want to do it at work and in a society, but challenge the status quo in your own life. 6 is create each moment as new. So often we're living in our mind in the past, in yesterday, or a predictable future. Oh, I got to remember to do this tomorrow. I got to remember to tell this person off or send this email, right? Or protect myself, right? Be able to create each moment as new, right? Just because it happened yesterday doesn't mean it's going to happen today. And this I can say I'm not always good at. My husband's like, Marlene, just because it happened in the past don't mean it's going to happen again. I'm like, shoot, he's right. I know this stuff, right? Number 7 is develop a support system. A support system is there's multiple ways to get a support system. A lot of times I see my women do have really close friends, but sometimes your close friends are so close, they're not objective enough. So getting mentors, getting a personal coach, getting sponsorship, getting somebody outside of your immediate circle who loves you so much is really, really good. Of course, having that super loving support system is crucial, but also expand that beyond that support system to those who can tell you the truth without worrying about having to ruin the relationship. Okay. Number 8 is challenge yourself to grow. I have a concept, and I think this is one of the things I'm covering tonight, but either you're growing or you're dying. And that's a natural law, right? Everything has to grow or it dies. I didn't make it up, God did. 9 is consciously, let me give you guys a second. All right, consciously choose to resolve conflict. And this is such an interesting, I don't think I picked this one to talk about tonight, but I will do a video on this because I am working on my relationship with conflict. And what I'm learning is that conflict, to resolve conflict, it's never about the situation. It's the conflict inside of me that needs to be resolved. So when I'm triggered at work or I'm triggered at home, and it's not really about the situation. It's about something inside of me doesn't feel as secure or comfortable, right? Or confident. And so I need to resolve the conflict with me because my new goal is to be able to be conflict free, in the meaning that I don't want to be triggered by things external to me, because I want to be so clean and so secure inside of me that, I'm not reacting to things outside of me. So resolving conflict, consciously resolving conflict. A lot of times we run from conflict or we fight, but we're fighting against the situation instead of what's really the real conflict, which is whatever's happening inside of you that triggered the strong emotion, right? Define yourself and express your gift. I think this is what I'm going to talk about tonight. Defining yourself, right? A lot of times we don't take the time to really redefine ourselves. We are at this big old age, a lot of, probably majority of what somebody else have groomed us to be: life experiences, work, society, right? Fighting against the oppression, the injustice. But we haven't really say, who am I? And I call it your Eden presence. Who am I without the hurt, without the pain, without the abandonment? Who would I be? Who can I be right now? And so I have a whole exercise around helping you define yourself so that you can express your gift. We all have a gift. We all have a gift for God that we're supposed to use while we're on this earth for the purpose to edify each other. But a lot of times we get lost in just putting our fingers to the keyboard and working our skill and not our gift, because we haven't redefined ourselves enough. Um, I hope you guys got all of that. And I'm going to grab my notes. Let me know in the chat how you're rocking with me. If you're just showing up, I'm Coach Marlena Cole. I'm so happy you're here. And tonight we are talking about your relationship with happiness. And so I just went through the 10 keys of happiness. I just listed them and I talked about my story. So go back, watch the replay. But let's dive in. Let's dive into key. I'm gonna cover key number 1, which is know that you can weather your mood. So, so here's the thing. Like the weather, our moods change. They're always changing, right? Our mood is not always up and it's not always down, right? And it's not always neutral. We have different moods, and that is okay. Um, I see with my clients a lot of times the things that happens is they get stuck in a certain mood. And a lot of times this mood is not the most growth oriented, the most joyous mood. And it becomes very nonchalant, very skeptical, very fight or flight, very defensive mood. And it's usually from work. 90% of it is coming from work. And then sometimes family situations, right? We all have some type of dynamics in our family a lot of times. And those moods we will become stuck in a mood. And what happens is that you lose track of other parts of your life, right? So let's take work. So work, you're at work, what, 9-10 hours a day. You're thinking about it 12 to 14 hours a day. We work 2,080 hours a year, minus vacation. But even when we're not working, we've allowed work and the situations of work to put us in a mood. And that mood is not who our natural person, our natural tendency would be. We've adjusted and accommodated to the environment, right? And sometimes this cannot be your job. It can be family situation, it could be past situations, right? It could be friendships. I've had friendships, girlfriend friendships, that have put me in a mood of not feeling seen, not feeling valued, right? And instead of knowing that realizing that this is cementing me at a certain mindset and a certain attitude and a certain mood, not realizing that, but just trying to, not rock the boat too much. I didn't realize that it was cultivating me, it was programming me to be in a mood that wasn't who I naturally was. And so, even when it comes to relationships, and why this is so key is that my women, when they come to me, and a lot of times when you're single in either of the categories, whether you've been divorced or out of a long term relationship, whether you haven't had a relationship in many years, or if you're a dating dabbler and you're dating and meeting men, but not meeting men that lead to a commitment, it puts you in a certain mood, right? And usually that mood is that of doubt. And so you're walking around in a mood of doubt, and it's like, well, if it happens, it happens. Or you're like going through the motions. I'm just going to get online and, because I don't really want to put any effort into it because I don't really believe that it's going to happen because I'm stuck in this mood of like a storm, right? If your mood is like the weather, you're stuck in the storm. And everybody knows when you're traveling and it starts to storm, if you stop and pull over, you're going to be stuck on the side of the road for a very long time because those clouds are moving slow. But if you keep going through the storm, if you keep driving through, you will get clear skies, right? And so what has happened to a lot of my women who are single in those three categories is that you're now stuck in a mood either from work, family, or just relationships, right? Intimate relationships that have defaulted you into a mood, and you have taken this draining, destructive mood into every area of your life. So your finances are cool, but they're not great. Your health is good, but it's not great. Or it's like, yeah, I'm doing really good, in my social circle, and I'm traveling, and I'm seeing the world. But over here, right, my house is not, situation is not right. My financial situation is not right. My relationships are not right, right? My spiritual life is off, right? So you either tend to gravitate to what's really easy for you and avoid what's hard for you. And that puts you in a mood and it makes your life average. So if 1 out of 10 is your life joy and happiness, one is not happy, 10 is you have become happiness, right? Nothing can take it away. That's just who you are. My women are somewhere between 5 and 7. Those who, when I say my women, those are people that I coach and that who resonate and wants me to be their coach, right? Their happiness is somewhere between 5 and 7. So they're just like lukewarm and they don't realize that they're stuck in a mood. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense, what I'm saying. I'm gonna check the chat to see if there's any questions. All right, good. Making sense. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so we're going to keep going because this is getting kind of long. Let me see. So what's your mood? How would you define your mood? Oh, let me give you this. So if this is you, let me give you this because I want to make sure that you get something to walk away with. Is that if your mood is that of defensiveness, doubt, skepticism, if it's not 8 or above, right? If you're somewhere between 5 and 7 most of the time, and most of the time meaning for more than 2 weeks. So if your mood is between 5 or 7 for the most days for the last 2 weeks, then you're kind of stuck, right? Something is keeping you stuck in a mood of not, and your relationship with happiness is lukewarm. And so you can start what I call a gratitude journal. And I love to teach my women this technique where every day they start with the top 3 things that they're grateful for. And throughout the day, they're intentionally looking for something else to be grateful for. And so they scratch out the bottom one and they go to the next one. Then they just keep, or the top one, and they keep writing in, scratching out the top one and keep adding to what they're grateful for, right? Like check it, you can check it and add another one, check it and add another one. So by the end of the day, you have a whole list of things that you're grateful for. And what this does to you energetically, it really opens your heart, right? And it shifts that mood of being skeptical, unhappy, defensive, whatever mood you're stuck in, right? That 5 to 7, right? It's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just going through the day. Let me get to work. Oh my God, it's Friday. Or you're like, oh Lord, it's Monday, right? That's how you know you're in a mood. Something has programmed you into a mood that's no longer serving you. And when you think about it from a relationship perspective, right? when you're wanting to be in a relationship that is high quality with somebody who loves and accepts you, somebody you can enjoy life with, right? You don't want to meet somebody at a 5 or 7. You don't want to be lukewarm, but you're going to either meet somebody who's lukewarm and they're just kind of going through life, or somebody who's even lower than that and they're sad and depressed and like I was a victim in the relationship, right? You want to meet somebody who's 8 or above, who is steady growing, who steady have a great relationship with happiness. They're not dependent on you to make them happy, right? They are finding happiness on their own within themselves, and they're sharing it with you, because ultimately that's what we want to do, and ultimately that's what I'm getting my women to, a better relationship with happiness, so they can share their happiness, not depend on somebody to give it to them, right? It's better to give than receive, right? So I'm going to share my happiness from you, and if I'm then in control of my happiness, nobody can take it away. I have an abundance of happiness because I've become happy, and it starts with your mood, with your attitude. All right. Attitude being just like the weather, your mood being just like the weather. Makes sense? So start that gratitude journal. You can use the exercise. And by the end of the day, you'll have a whole list. Your heart will be open, and you're going to start attracting men who have who have happiness in their lives, right? They're not projecting their issues out on you. They're dealing with their issues, and they're bringing happiness. And when two happy people come together, magic occurs. All right. All right. Let me look and see. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's talk about number 8. The 8th key to happiness is, and I'm skipping through, I'm not going in order. I'm just taking the top 3 that I really work with my women with, but everybody's different. So I've worked with women on all different keys, multiple keys of happiness, wherever they're kind of falling short. All right. So here's the number 8: challenge yourself to grow. Now, I work with highly ambitious, successful women, but believe it or not, they, in certain parts of their life, I always call it left brain growth. They have left brain logic growth, where if it's a thing to accomplish, a degree to get, a certification, a spreadsheet to master, a team to coach, a team to lead, a budget to manage, they're all over it. They're all over it, and they're growing, they're learning. On the other end of the right side, right side growth, where it's creativity, it's fun, it's excitement, it's personal growth, not professional growth. They are lacking in that area, right? They don't spend enough time on them personal selves. Now, a lot of my women have gone to therapy, do coaching, but therapy only takes you so far when you don't have big T traumas. So therapy is for traumas, right? And so if you've had big T traumas, like some thing that was life threatening, or rape, or something huge, some incident, or um, something like that, big T trauma, yes, therapy, EFT therapy, there's all different type of modes of therapy, and that helps you grow through that trauma. A lot of my women don't come with that type of trauma. They may have what I call small T traumas: breakups, heartbreaks, failures. Maybe they went bankrupt and had to rebuild themselves, had a divorce, right? Those are small T traumas. And therapy works for that, but it doesn't. If you just stop there and then move, and then that's it. Like, I did therapy and I feel better and I have some techniques, but then you stop your personal growth there, it totally makes sense why you're not meeting men that you think are on your level, when the fact of it is, when you're not challenging yourself to personally grow, you are meeting men on your level, men who may not be personally growing, who's still 50 years old acting like they're 20. Right? Just like, I might as well date a 20-year-old because they act 40. But a lot of younger people are getting coaches, they're getting mentors, they are reading books, they are growing personally and professionally. And so when you're not meeting men on your level, or meeting men that you feel that you can commit to, it's probably because you're also have studied your own personal growth. Right, that left side, you got it going on with the degrees, the work. That right side, creativity, personal growth, conflict, because falling between that, less than 7. And when you're less than, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're less than 7, then you're not growing. And there's a natural law: either you grow or you die. And that's just not people. That's just not, it's nature, right? If a tree, grass doesn't grow, it dies. Everything has to grow. And we as human beings are so multifaceted. We have to not just grow professionally, we have to grow personally. And that's why I love the one-on-one coaching I do with my women, because we start with personal growth. That's why I'm talking about the keys to happiness, right? Not just I'm happy because I got a man. I know. I'm telling you now, getting a man is not going to make you happy. I just told you my story. After 10 years of wanting to be married, finally getting married, 2 years into the marriage, I was completely unhappy. Marriage and a man is not going to make you happy. You have to bring happiness to the relationship. You have to cultivate happiness within yourself, right? And you do it through these 10 keys that I'm teaching you. And we're only doing 3 tonight. But if you want to learn the rest, I'd be happy to have you as my client and walk you through the keys that you need, because some of these you're probably doing really, really well. And there's others that you're not. And so it's not okay that you just do some well and not all. No, you need to be full. You need to become happiness, not just be happy when things are going your way. You need to be literally become happiness, right? And so no matter what happens, I am just happy. I choose to be happy because I'm cultivating all these different areas of my life. And challenging yourself to grow is absolutely, personally, is one of the things that my women lack. Is in all of their success and all of their accomplishments, they are lacking on the end of personal growth and challenging themselves to personally grow. All right. Does that hurt a little bit? Does that hurt a little bit? I hope so. I hope it stings, right? Yes. So here's an exercise I want you to do. I want you to write, and I just did, I'm actually in the middle of doing this for myself. Because my happiness start going down. I start feeling, I'm like, wait, something's not right. I'm like, oh, my happiness. What is happening? And I went to my book and I'm like, oh, I'm not I'm tolerating some things, right? I'm not challenging myself to grow in these areas. And so, one of the things I do, and this is what I want you to do, is write down a toleration list. Everything that you're tolerating in your life. And how do you know you're tolerating it? Because it's frustrating you, it's angering you, it's making you sad. It's something you want that you haven't gotten. You've ignored it. You've rationed your way why you shouldn't have it. Like, oh, well, you know what? My time, my job, it'll just happen. That's toleration. If you are wanting to be married and you're not, this should go on your toleration list. If you are single and you just want to date, like I just want to go out on a date and you haven't been on a date in months, that's on your toleration list. My toleration list, it was pretty long, but one of the things, it could be simple. So it could be big as those things, or it could be simple as my husband bought these pots, and they're really expensive pots, really nice pots. And they have, I think, like a ceramic bottom, because it was the type of stove top we had. It had to have these specific pots. And so very, very good pots, very expensive pots. And they were appropriate pots for the stove top. The problem was they were not non-stick. So anytime I'm cooking on high heat, it is like I'm using like all the muscle I have to get these pots clean. So sometimes those pots was soaking overnight. The next day, I'm like, listen, these pots will not come clean. And I'm like, in making my toleration list, because my happiness, I started weighing, right? I felt myself in this mood. And I was like, what am I not doing? It was like, oh, you're tolerating too much stuff, right? And the first thing on my list was those doggone pots. I'm like, listen, get you some new non-stick pots that fit this stove top. How hard is that, right? But I was tolerating these pots. I'm not going to even tell y'all how long I've been tolerating these pots because I'm going to be embarrassed. But I was tolerating these pots. That went on my list. We just moved into a new home and the cabinet looks a mess. I'm like, why are you tolerating this? Go buy some bins and organize this pantry. This is crazy. This is a big, beautiful pantry, and it was a mess, right? So it's like even the smallest things. And as I'm doing these small things, right? A pot in pantry, I'm literally feeling my joy and my happiness balance back out. because when we're not doing the things to grow, it weighs down on us. So if you're feeling weighed down, if you're feeling moody, you may not even be depressed. You don't need any volume. You need to create this toleration list and start checking it off and doing these things so that you can challenge yourself to grow from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. And I told you guys, I'm working on the big thing for me is working on conflict. Meaning, I don't anything outside of me that triggers me, make me angry, make me sad. I'm not blaming the situation. I'm seeing what's inside of me that's so upset about this thing. Right. So that's one of my big things because I want to have less conflict in my life. Meaning, when I have less conflict in myself, that means I'm more in alignment with who God has called me to be. I need to get something to drink. So think about that. I know this is going kind of long. So let me know if that makes sense. The toleration list. All right. Now I'm out of order. So let's go to 4. So this is the last one. And I'm gonna cut this up video for you guys so it can be shorter. I'm sorry I've gone so long. So number 4, key to happiness: appreciate variety and anticipation. And I've kind of alluded to this. Life is change. Everything is change. Change is inevitable. But people, we hate change. And it's so funny because in my corporate job, I am a change manager. I help people manage the ups and downs of change, right? And change is so hard for people because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's taking you from the known to the unknown. And even though I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna put this spin on it. It applies to life, but I want to put this relationship spin on it. A lot of you ladies want to have a relationship. You want to be married. You want to have a man love you, accept you, see you, value you, right? Adore you, and you want to do the same for him. You want him to be the king in your life. You want to spoil him. You want to give yourself to him, right? But you don't want anything in your life to change. And you're like afraid of it changing because you don't know what's possible. Only thing you know is what has been in the past and it didn't work, or it left you heartbroken, or it left you sad, or it left your mother sad, or left your auntie broken, or all these people on the internet with these 51 things about marrying people they didn't know, right? And so that's what you default to. And so you don't appreciate the variety of change in your life, even though you want it. You only want to date a certain type of man. I had a potential client was like, I only want to date men who are in corporate America who make 6 figures. She was not appreciating the variety and anticipation. I said, well, I'm not God and I can't promise that, right? But what I will coach you on is helping you appreciate variety and anticipating that what you need can come from somebody regardless to their job and their occupation, because their job is a skill set doesn't mean that's who they are, right? So you want love but you fear change. And it's so funny because that is the very thing that's keeping you single. That is the very thing that's keeping you from meeting men who you can be in a commitment with. Workbook. Yes, ma'am. And so I want you to let that sink in. I want love, but I fear change. And to be in a loving, healthy marriage and relationship, it's going to require you to change now and always. If I had chosen to stay who I was in those first 2 years of my marriage, to continue to let everything my husband say break me, to continue to think I was a bad wife, to continue to be out all day without letting my husband know where I was, I would be divorced. Thank you. I would be divorced right now. And I know how difficult change is. And change requires skill, right? It requires different identities, right? It requires you to see and bring into your life different variety. A lot of times you ladies are stuck in just wanting to do the thing you want to do. right? We see it all the time. I don't eat that. I don't go there. I don't want to do that, right? You're so stuck in what you've known that you're afraid to get variety, right? That makes sense. Things will change, but change is not bad. If you only want to create what you know, what is going to be different? Nothing's going to be different if you keep recreating only the things you know. And this is not just a relationship. This is in every area of life. I had an old friend who they went to the same vacation spot every year. I was like, no, I don't want to go. Did you go there last year? I don't want to go. I don't want to visit the same places every year, the same restaurants every year. I want to take and try new things. Right? It's like I may not like it. I may spend 40 bucks, 50 bucks or something I don't like, but at least I'm giving myself an opportunity to appreciate variety. And a lot of times, here's the second part of anticipation. You ladies are anticipating the worst unconsciously. You want love, but you're anticipating that you're going to meet somebody who's going to waste your time, right? And I know it because you always say to me, well, I want to be in love, but I don't want to waste my time, Marlene. How long is this going to take for me to find my person? I only want to meet one person. I have this challenge. It's called the Dating Pipeline Challenge. And this is to help my women show that they can create dates. They can create men uh, approaching them, right? And so I have a 30-day challenge, dating pipeline challenge. And one lady told me, she was like, I've dated multiple men before. I don't want to do that. And I was like, this is not about dating men. And why not? Why can't you? Why are you anticipating because you've dated multiple men in the past is going to be the same exact experience? But it was, she didn't want to change. She didn't want to do anything new. She didn't want any variety in her life. She was anticipating that because she's done something similar in the past, it wasn't going to work. So I coached her through it and she did the challenge and had the most amazing 30 days. She was on all type of experience dates, right? All different type of dates. Because I teach my women, don't go out to dinner. Let it lead up to dinner, but go do golf, go try swimming, go do horseback riding, go do something you've never done before. Things that you have always wanted to do. Use that date, use that experience, even if it's a one-time date, to do those things, to have variety, to appreciate and anticipate it going well. We're so used to things not going our way that you anticipate that it's going to continue to go your way. So to the point, I was in the same situation. And again, because I am so committed to my own personal growth. I'm so committed to becoming happiness and not just being happy that I created my own 8-week abundance challenge. And this is what I personally take myself through daily when I'm trying to create, not trying, when I'm creating a big audacious goal that I've never created before. When I'm working through becoming happiness, like happiness is just who I am, no matter what the situation. I have joy, I have happiness. I created this 8-week abundance challenge, and so I'm using this. I've gone through it several times, and so I have different exercises that I personally use that I'm going to start using this with my clients. And as a matter of fact, as I close, I would love to invite you. I have 2 offers. I would love to invite you to my one-on-one coaching. This is very customized. It is a 6-month experience. Your life is going to be transformed from relationships to how you see yourself, to your confidence, to uh, careers, to just knowing who you are. You're going to learn how to create whatever you want from the inside. You're going to learn how to become happiness. We are going to remove any of the 4 blocks that are keeping you from love, joy, and happiness in every area of your life. My women who've gone through my one-on-one coaching have come out as different women, and they've gotten married and they've gotten into healthy loving relationships, and they always say the man becomes the cherry on the top. And that's where I got that statement from. My women's like, he became the cherry on the top. It became about so much more than getting a man. It was about me loving me clearing my heart, me letting go of the past, me even getting my relationship with God better. And so tonight I have a special offer is that if when you sign up for my one-on-one coaching from my live, you also will get me walking you through my 8-week abundance challenge. You're going to be one of the first people. I'm finally have the courage to and have proven that it works because it has worked for me. You're also going to have me send you this, and I have one that's in color. This is my practice one, and going to walk you through the exercises of how to change, how to appreciate value, how to become happiness, and I'm going to show you how to really create the life and the relationships that you want. All right, this has gone way longer than I wanted, but I hope that you have gotten some out of this. I have the QR code up, so please take a picture of that or just DM me the word coach and we can set up and book a call so that we can see if my one-on-one is a good fit for you. I love you guys. Thank you for rocking with me. If you watch the replay, please put replay so that I can know that you watch. If you got anything out of here, please let me know. I love you, ladies. I'll see you next Sunday if God says the same.